All right, welcome everybody to this episode of The Quiz Makers. I'm joined today with Dayna Winter, and Dayna is a guest of ours from Shopify, a small, wee little company you probably have heard of in the e-commerce space. Dayna is, her title is storyteller. I'm sure there's a more boring corporate title associated with that, but I'm going to throw it over to you, Dayna. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, thank you for having me, Mike.
And so, storyteller, what does that involve, and what is your role?
So I work on the content marketing team at Shopify, and specifically on our sort of core / e-commerce blog, name sort of in progress, I suppose, as we evolve as a company. I mostly focus on telling stories about our merchants, so amplifying the what inspires somebody to start a business, how did they get started, success stories, that sort of thing.
Okay, and because I know Shopify has so many customers from small to big companies, that must give you a rich, fertile ground to cover.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Yeah.
Fantastic. So I guess an easy question is, how did you end up at Shopify?
Well, I actually started at Shopify 7 years ago, which makes me like quite the veteran. It was a small company back then. I think we probably were about 200 people, and I in Toronto that was I think there were 13 of us when I started, which is quite small. It was honestly a recommendation from a friend. I hadn't really heard of the company, but I thought it was a good opportunity to grow with a startup and learn. And little did I know it would be this 7-year adventure.
Fantastic. No, actually, that's something similar. Both Boris and myself do as well. It's a fun journey getting in a small team and then watching it spiral and grow, which is fantastic. Okay, so as a storyteller, obviously this podcast is about quizzes and quiz marketing. So what was the marketing problem that you guys were looking to solve?
Yeah, so I work really closely with our market insights team, and they do a lot of surveys with our customers and just with buyers and people in the general public to sort of give us insights about our customers and about just buying habits. They had done this really cool project that was mostly internal. It was just segmenting entrepreneur types into groups, and I thought this was just really such cool research that they did. And I thought we have to put this out there somehow. So we reimagined it for the blog as kind of like a horoscope zodiac kind of thing.
Right.
And we thought that one, it would just be like a fun sort of upper funnel type thing to sort of get people introduced to Shopify and the idea of entrepreneurship. But we needed a way to, an engaging way to show people these types. And it also helped us like segment and understand our audience a little bit more. So the quiz just felt like the absolute perfect tool for us for that.
Fantastic. And so you've run a couple of quizzes or a couple surveys, I suppose.
Yeah. So I just got really excited about it. We had such great results with the Founders Zodiac series that we ran through a quiz that I've also used it for some of our other content. So it's really new to us, at least on the blog, and we've seen great success. Like even with we didn't gate our first quiz, and we're still seeing a 30% plus opt-in rate, which is fantastic.
So that's a really good point. So one of the things we've often seen from quiz marketers is they have this tendency to say, I want to gate off results. So basically, for people who don't know what that is, this is where you say, okay, you can take the quiz or take the survey, but no, you have to give us your email address before you see your results.
Right.
Very, very tempting, but the downside is that you can really kind of irritate your audience.
Right. And, we decided to start with it not gated just to sort of see. Who knows if that will change? Who knows if we will try a gated approach in the future? But really at the beginning, we wanted to get as many people through the quiz and through into the segments. It teaches us a lot about like what kind of people are coming to our blog and reading our content. And so that was just really valuable for us, as much as like getting the email addresses.
Fantastic. One other thing we've seen work well is you can almost do a hybrid approach where you don't gate the results, or sorry, so basically what you do is you don't gate the results, you ask the survey questions, and you give them the optional lead form, but you say for a detailed quiz result, fill in the form. So everyone will get the results. For example, in your case, like, oh, hey, you're an outsider, or you're this type of entrepreneur. But someone who gave your email address, you could actually then send a different email with a lot more information or things like that. So that kind of is, for you quiz marketers out there, that's kind of a hybrid approach. We've seen that work well.
Yeah, I actually saw a great example yesterday. It's 16 personalities, and their site is set up that way, where you run through their quiz and you get your result. But if you want this sort of more robust, here are your strengths, here are your weaknesses, you need to sign up for an account, which is exactly a perfect example of what you're saying.
Yeah, no, definitely. And the thing about it is, today we are trained to be a little more cautious about giving email addresses. You need to provide something of value. And that's a really good way of giving a little something. And then you say, hey, if you give us this, we'll give you that. It's a quid pro quo, not to, that's a tainted phrase now, unfortunately. Right. So you've been telling me that not only quizzes are working well for Shopify as a company, but you've also been, because you talk so much with your customers, that quizzes are working well for them. Do you have any stories or examples that you might want to share with us?
I sure do. I'm like, after I used Riddle to start our series on Founder Zodiac, I just became really interested in like how successful it was, and wondering just if any of our customers were also using this tool. We have other sort of quiz apps that plug into Shopify. So as I started to look into it, I saw that there were many merchants using it in really interesting ways. So one example is Thinks, and they're a company that makes like period underwear, and it's a really specific product, and it's sort of a new-ish. They've been around for a few years, but because it's this product that is aiming to replace something that has been used for so long, it required this sort of level of education. And I think that they have used the quiz in this really great way to learn more about their customers, but also to provide recommendations that are really tailored, because it's such a personal product. And they just saw it explode. So their conversion rates, they told me the people who take the quiz convert 5 times more than people who don't take the quiz and just sort of land on their site. And on mobile, they've seen 7 to 8 times the conversion rate. So there are countless examples of this. A bike company as well in Brooklyn, so Brooklyn Bicycle Company, they have used the tool because they've had so much success in their showroom, where they are able to like really kind of handhold people through the process of buying the bike. They wanted to replicate that online. And so they took a lot of that conversation they would normally have in person, and they put it into a quiz format. So it really helps people, buy something that's a little bit more expensive and a little bit, needing more sort of information about like how to buy a bike. And they were able to provide that sort of handholding through a quiz on their website.
Oh, that's fantastic. And yeah, actually, I love how wildly varied those two businesses are, because many times when I talk to people about what Riddle does, the company that we founded, but quiz marketing in general, people go, quizzes. Oh, those are those Harry Potter. Those are the what character are you? And you're like, well, no, it's a guided, I'm going to ask you questions, and based on your results, I'm going to recommend this. So yeah, so underwear to bicycles. Those are brilliant use cases. The other thing about quiz marketing, I'm not sure if they did it, but if a quiz part of their funnel converts that well, they can drive traffic directly from Facebook or Google, and they're going to monetize that traffic so much more effectively. So that's a really good way to so instead of just waiting for viral traffic, you can actually get things going that way. Anyways, off my soapbox. Those are really cool examples. So we're going to keep this really short and sweet, because like our quizzes and whatever we've seen in successful quiz marketing campaigns, short to the point is where it's at. What advice would you give to people who are just looking to start using quizzes for marketing?
Yeah, I mean, short and to the point is really great advice to begin with. I had the challenge of working with obviously a more formal survey that our team had prepared for the market. And we realized we couldn't exactly like directly translate that to a quiz because we would just lose people. Like you've got, 40 plus questions. So I'm lucky enough to work with people who really understand how to like build surveys and build questions. So not everyone's going to have that, but if you do have somebody that sort of like understands that world, they really help me convert something that was a more sort of like business focused formal survey into something more fun and digestible. I think we're down to like 12 questions at this point. It's still giving us.
Yeah, I took your survey right before.
Oh, nice. And what's your founder sign?
The outsider.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Okay, that's actually quite rare. Interesting. Okay. No, it's good. Good. You're an individual. I guess the other advice would be to just continue to tweak it. As you start getting results and you sort of see like, where are the problems with the quiz? Like, are we seeing people start, but they're dropping off? And suddenly like we've got a huge rate of people seeing it and starting the quiz, but then, no one's finishing it, or it's like a very low finishing rate. So we did do quite a few tweaks as we started to see results come in, sort of with the language, with the call to action. We did get feedback through blog comments on the quiz, and that people were had an appetite to share the results, and that was not done that well in the way that we'd set it up in the first place. So I think just like iterating and changing and tweaking as you go to get the results that you're looking for based on your goals.
Yeah, fantastic. And that's actually, just like so much of marketing and startups in general, it's iterate, learn, and proceed. And quizzes are a living, breathing piece of content. Sometimes it's almost like launch and forget. And you're like, no, it's launch and learn. And that's the way you're going to get better. Fantastic. Thank you so much for joining us. One silly question we like to end these podcasts on. Okay, brace yourself. What is your biggest pet peeve, your little irritation that just drives you absolutely up the wall?
Oh gosh. I guess this is really unsurprising, but as a writer, it's bad grammar. I hate to say it. So the improper use of there, and there, and it's not shocking.
You are speaking my language. That is absolutely my pet peeve. What are your thoughts on the Oxford comma?
Oh, I'm pro Oxford comma.
Yep. Fantastic. No, absolutely. And when I see marketing materials, we get pitched all the time in our company. And you read it and you're like, oh, come on, man. You haven't even used Grammarly. Use someone just to proof it. All right. We're birds of a feather. I love it. Dayna, thank you so much for your time. And really, really love what you guys are doing at Shopify. And you guys are crushing it. So continued success.
Thanks a lot, Mike.
Thank you.